I put the pages on the sheets. I put notification on the board. I trained for the first couple of weeks of school. Nonetheless, they come in, they don't get their stuff out, they don't do what they're supposed to do. Means despite of what's being said. And then it says comparative reading. My mother really knew, so it's already highlighted for a purpose. My mother really knew Tangerine and My Father's a Simple Man are all about family conflict, but the author's perspective is about the cause of conflict vary. And my mother really knew. It's a personality clash. The speaker's father is hot-tempered and Tangerine. Unexpected events such as a sudden downpour can lead to conflicts. And My Father is a Simple Man. Conflicts arise over simple things like fruit. So it kind of explains why they did that. And then I read this to you because whenever it's highlighted, a lot of times they might have an answer here for you. So you really gotta pay attention to it. And then the very first line, my father was a tough cookie, is a metaphor. My father was a tough cookie. That's a metaphor. That is our standard down here. I can analyze that. Figurative language helps create tone and meaning. And when somebody says somebody's a tough cookie, we know that it can be kind of gruff and rough. Okay? Then, the next paragraph, I remember that for maybe the first decade of my life, I had to kiss him every night before I went to bed. And usually that's not a problem, okay, but maybe trying to do that every night with somebody who's rough and rough is maybe a little bit harder to do. Let's see, what is, so we're not up to that yet. There was one time he got into a big argument with the rest of us at dinner time. And afterwards, when he was in his study, I had to go to sleep and refused to see him. A chip off the old block. So a chip off the old block, highlight that. It's an idiom. It's a figure of speech like there's the elephant in the room, which means that there's like a lot of tension. Okay, so idioms are just a way of expressing things that aren't literal, okay? So a chip off the old block is, if somebody says like, compares you to your dad, you're a chip off the old block. What might that mean? If somebody says you're a chip off the old block, they're talking about you and your dad, or your mom. You're just like that. Yeah, yep. That's what that means. So it's an idiom, so it's a figure of language that's used, but it is also an expression, and it means you are just like them. Sometimes it's a compliment, and sometimes it's not a compliment, depending on who the person is. I will advance, why not? So, is there food or something under there?
Yeah.
Okay. Move to the end of the table, and make sure your backpack's not on the floor.
Yeah, I'll move it.
What, honey?
I'll move it. They're like all dying on the food.
But my mother and elder brothers coaxed me into his door, and I ran in and pecked his cheek without saying a word, and went to bed thinking of how unfair life was. So he's really ticked off that he had to kiss his dad goodnight. Coaxed, if somebody's coaxing you to do something, gently urge you to do something, so that they coax you to do something. We turn the page. This is where the speaker talks about the mom. Love. My mother really knew. This is kind of like a good part of the poem. Was like these islands, formed in part by tidal waves and hurricanes, and the eruptions of volcanoes which suddenly appeared and just as suddenly go away. So the mom compares, okay, that love, kind of like an island, okay, it can be destroyed very easily. And then it can come and go. So the speaker learns that love, as a permanent, as an island, can come and go, just as islands can be created or destroyed by somebody is an adult out there with that? Can be created or destroyed by sudden events. And that love, the mom knows that love, the speaker learned that love should never be taken for granted. And, you know, sometimes moms are there to settle things down. Eruptions, a bursting out after building up pressure, so we know that eruptions are bursting out after eruptions. So what kind of father, what kind of
Yeah,
person
they
do you think
don't
the
like
father
hand
actually
sanitizer
is?
at all.
What kind of person is the dad? Kind of hard to deal with, okay? He's tough, he's
Okay, I think
temperamental,
that's good.
and he obviously,
Good job.
perfect. For which one? Tangerine? 290 months in college. How does the author Tangerine address mothers trying to convince their families differently from My Mother Really Knew? So did you read My Mother Really Knew? Okay, so what do you think about that poem? How did the mother try to convince?